family, business, and health over the next 20 minutes or so. And I think that you're going to get a lot out of the episode. So this is the Refined BS Podcast. I'm Dustin Weaver, and I'm super excited about this episode. Metrics and tracking your progress. And we're going to break it down into 3 individual groups. The first group is going to be your family. Okay, your family and your home life. The second is going to be your business or your career, right? And the third is going to be your health. So the health can affect everything, right? And I think everybody follows that logic, but I want to break down metrics that you can track, because the reason we're doing this podcast is so that everybody can get just 0.5%, 0.25%, or 1% better every day, every week, and every month. And those small changes lead to big results. And you will get there if you continually put focus on the little things that matter. So we're going to talk about family first, all right? Because when you track something, you figure out a way to improve that thing, right? So in your family, you want deep relationships with your spouse, with your children, right? With your family. And the way you get those deep relationships with those individuals is you have to lead by example. You've got to set the example. If you're happy, your spouse and your children will be happy. You will be able to show them what happiness is supposed to look like, with a smile on your face, with a friendly greeting, with the time that you spend with them. But if you're worried all the time, guess what? Your family's going to be worried all the time. If you're angry, your family's going to be angry, right? And your children may not recognize all of the emotions, but they recognize that something is not right. And that's why you've got to focus on making your family a priority. And in my opinion, that starts in getting everyone in church. You've got to get in church, because your children and your spouse, there is going to come a time where they're going to face something, and it's going to be something massive in their life, and you may or may not be there to support them. You may or may not know anything about it. But if they have a strong foundational faith in Jesus Christ, His love for them, His guidance for them, and His forgiveness for them, then they will make the right decisions. And with your spouse, Jesus will help you come together and build a deeper relationship. Church has got to be number one in your household. Second, spending family time together. As entrepreneurs, we can work all the time. I mean, I am so focused on building the business that I could work all of the time. It has nothing to do with the financial pressure or anything like that. I just love what I do. I've got a passion for it. And of course, yes, I want to make my family very wealthy and be able to give and all the fun stuff that comes with having lots of money. But it's more about, I love what I do. I love my industry. I've mastered my craft in a way that I know that I don't know everything. So it's a continual learning experience, and I love that about it. It's a mystery for me to solve every day. And I absolutely love it. So it's easy for me to be thrown into the business and not spend that family time together. You've got to spend time with your family. Get them off the iPads. Get them off the TV. Get them out into nature, right? Or something simple. We just got my daughter a new bike, and that has given us some extra family time together outside where their kids are enjoying their bicycles or scooters or whatever it may be. And my wife and I are talking about other stuff besides work or the kids, because that's our focus of most of our conversations, right? Work or the kids. And how do you get out of that? You've got to give yourself time to relax and have that small talk, right? Because then you get to talk about all the other fun stuff, right? That God brought 2 wonderful people together. You have 2 beautiful children, or no children at all, or 5 children, right? You have a blessing that's sitting there staring at you, and there's an opportunity for you to have a positive impact on everybody there. So first, family, church for your foundation, and spending time, because that time will be remembered in your kids' lives forever. And that may mean that you've got to turn down a deal, or you've got to not go to that business meeting, or you've got to put a client on hold, right? And that's the things that we do for our families. Next, business. It's wonderful to talk about business. How do we measure our metrics in business? How do we know that our business is continually getting to the next level? How is it possible that we can work and work and work, and sometimes we're working to nowhere, right? We're on a treadmill running in place. We don't want to be there. So what we did in our business is we brought in an administrator so that we could start doing a closer audit of individual agents, activities, and duties and execution, right? So that we had the ability to see what type of work product they were bringing to the organization, and do we want to keep them? Do we want to train them, or do we want to release them? Because there comes a time in every person's business when you are trying to be your very best, right? And that should be all the time, because the competition is always at the door knocking, all right? So that you have to let people go. There's a time where you need to train people up, but there's also a time where you need to give them creativity to be their own person and go execute and show you how awesome they really are. So that's what tracking and putting mechanisms and matrix together so that you can do that. So we learned some wonderful tips over the last year as we implemented that into our business. But secondly, I had myself on a leader plan where I started on a reading journey so that I become a smarter, stronger leader for the group. And I started asking the team, what can I do for you to help you finish your job, complete your job, execute your job, right? How can I help you? What resources can I provide? What decisions can I put in your hands instead of mine, right? So that we can be the very best for the client, because that is what matters, right? Being the very best for the client, continually growing the company, adding value to the industry. That is what I'm about. And as you turn over responsibility to your employees and your team, you're going to find some pretty miraculous things out. First off, people want a mystery to solve. They want to feel that sense of accomplishment. Just like when you're an entrepreneur and you sign that big contract or you execute something just flawlessly, you have this sense of accomplishment of what you've done. Your employees and your team, they want to feel that as well. And you need to put them in positions to be able to do that. Now, you've got to pay them well, right? And that's another metrics that you're going to want to track, which is, raises and pay, and what is the industry doing, and how are you bidding projects out for your clients so that you can pay and have the best of the best on your team. That's got to be part of it. So focus on auditing your team, putting the responsibility in their hands, and then as the leader, and this goes for all of your leaders in your organization, always have yourself on a plan to continue with your mastery of your skills. And leadership is a big one, right? So mastery of skills and leadership. All right, the third item. And this one's a fun one to talk about because it's our health. How do we track progress in our health? What is one way that we can track progress in our health? And I think that there is a book that probably has a million different ways for us to be able to track progress in our health. One simple one is, okay, I weigh 190 pounds and I want to weigh 182 pounds, right? So for 6 weeks, I'm going to try to do X, Y, and Z to get to 182. And I'm going to track my weight once a week. And that's what I would suggest. If you're trying to lose weight, you've got to track where your starting point. And I don't mean you need to get on the scale every day because that will drive yourself crazy. But you've got to track your starting point and then track yourself every week and think back. Have a food journal. Because the big thing that when I was 27 years old, I started down this really trying to get back into shape. I'd always worked out. I'd always gone to the gym, but I just really let myself get just out of shape in general. I lifted, but I really wasn't in shape. It was an interesting time. I ended up breaking my collarbone, and that led to not being able to do a lot of workout with this arm, and there was just other complications that I had along the way. So I ended up being like 225 pounds and just didn't feel great about myself at the time. So I went on this journey and I focused on a calorie deficit diet, because I will argue this till the end of time. It doesn't matter, thyroid, all the other things going on. If you eat less than you burn, you will lose weight. Now, the problem is, and the difficulty in lies, is the cravings that you get. Because a lot of people that are on that calorie deficit diet, they're not taking in enough protein, and they're not taking in enough fiber, and they're not taking in enough water. Those three things right there are the only way to survive when you're in that calorie deficit and you're trying to lose the weight, right? You got to focus on those three things: protein, fiber, and water. And if you can add lots of extra protein in, and my thought is that you can never get enough protein, realistically. If you weigh, if you're a 250-pound man and you should be a 185-pound man, well, you probably need to be, if you're going to go calorie deficient, which is only going to put you at about 2,500 calories a day to start out with, you better be taking in 200 plus grams of protein a day, right? And you better be taking in probably 40 grams of fiber or 30 grams of fiber every day. Because if you don't, you're going to get stuck in this loop, right? You've got to have the protein to make you feel full as you're trying to lose the weight. And one other thing that I've added, and it's taken me years to learn, is some intermittent fasting. And that has been a big buzzword all over the internet for the last 5-10 years. But I will say that I have my last meal at 8 o'clock or so. I do not have my first meal until 12 or 1 o'clock the next day. And there is something to the fasting. It gives your body the opportunity to have a little bit of a reset. And trust me, I have coffee in the morning and I have water. And yes, I put honey in my coffee, and I have a little bit of cream sometimes, or collagen protein or something, but no meals until 12 or 1 o'clock the next afternoon. And I'm telling you, if you can do that, you will move the needle. You will move the needle in your health. So someone who is just starting out, here's my advice. Get active at least 3 or 4 days a week. All right. 1 hour walk, 1 hour bike ride, 1 hour at the gym, push-ups, sit-ups, air squats, easy, light things that you can do at your house. You don't have to have a gym to do it. All you got to have is some tennis shoes. Go for a walk, right? These are simple things. Get yourself in a calorie deficient diet and start drinking more water. Because the one thing about health is that we make it to a certain level. And let's say you're new, and it's going to start with diet. Exercise is a part of it. But say no fried foods, lighten up your bread load that you're taking in every day, and no soda. Okay? You cut those three things down. You replace that with water, with protein, right? Iced teas, coffees. Just get on the calorie deficient side, okay? Just a little bit. With healthier foods, you will start shedding the pounds. You add in some intermittent fasting where you do not eat anything in the morning. And I'm telling you, from me, I used to get, if I didn't eat something in the morning, anything, I used to get really sick. I just felt nauseous all morning long. And it took my body about 6 months to adapt to that feeling. So I just kept drinking the water, or I had very, very light meals, just something super light. We're talking 200 calories or less, just something to get me past the lunchtime. My suggestion is push yourself as hard as you possibly can, because you are going to get so much out of it in the long run. Because every level we go to, cutting out the fried foods and some of the bread and the soda pops is going to get you to here, right? I don't know where your goal is. My goal was up here, right? I not only wanted to be healthy, aesthetically, I wanted to look nice. There were a lot of things that I was after in my health, and there are lots of things that we have to do. And then every level I rose here on the health span, I rose here on the business span and on the family span, right? So I'm telling you that the health affects everything else that you do because, first off, to keep up with your children, you need what? Energy, right? To really have fun with them, you need energy. If you're going to be the leader and you're going to set the tone for your family, you need energy. If you're going to run a business or you're going to be the leader in your career, right? You need what? Energy, right? We've got to have energy and a fire inside of us. And the only way we get that is if we get our bodies really healthy. So if you look at some of these awesome entrepreneurs that are out there today, Andy Friselli with the Live Hard program, Patrick Bet-David and his Valuetainment. If you look at them, Andy Elliott and his sales training, there are some awesome entrepreneurs out there. And Wes Watson, and he's a freak too. But if you look at what he's done and what he's accomplished, there are so many things that come together that get you to the place you want to be. So I want to leave you with these thoughts that if you have faith in Jesus Christ, that will help you lead your family. It will help you in your business, and your prayers will help you stay steadfast in a difficult diet to get yourself back healthy. So it starts there. But measuring the way you get there, you've said the prayer and you believe, now put it on paper and follow it every single day. I hope you got a lot of value out of this podcast. It was really fun to shoot. I'm going to continue putting these out. I did join Podcast Mate, which sounds really funny, but it's to bring on a few guests onto the show. I'm really excited about what's to come in the next 2 months or so, and I'm working on visual, audio, all the fun stuff to make sure that you, the viewer, had the best experience possible when you tune in to the channel. So we plan on doing something with cars. We're going to do something with a couple entrepreneurs in the watch space, entrepreneurs in the car space, and then entrepreneurs in the real estate world and some other fun stuff. I'm working on trying to get an entrepreneur who launched a gym brand because that's something that I've wanted to do. And obviously, we're going for something like this right here, maybe Jocko one day down the road. So anyway, have a great, blessed rest of your week. Keep grinding, keep shining. I know you've got an awesome journey in life and success ahead of you. Have a great weekend.